to the Discerning Otaku. It is now time for part 2 of the fall 2023 anime season. I have 3 new shows that I checked out today. They just all dropped earlier this morning, so I wanted to be quick on getting the reviews posted, see what everybody thought about them. So without further ado, here we go. The first show is Shangri-La Frontier. It is a VR MMO, not quite fantasy, and definitely not isekai, but is a VR MMO show. Basically, character Rakuro Hizotome is known for completing trash games. He tries to find the worst games humanly possible for his more or less full dive VR MMO to play and beat. And he is referred to as a freak in this nature, as he likes to play these horrible games, largely so he can beat them so that he can complain about them. After finishing his newest trash game, he decides that he's going to try out a quote-unquote god tier game known as Shangri-La Frontier. So now, unlike a lot of people who play games, he doesn't go in with flashy armor or anything like that. He is usually known for running around half naked and trying to dual wield the best weapons humanly possible. You can think of it, he tries to be like the goofy Elden Ring player who makes up for the deficit of armor by just being really overpowered. And in doing such, he actually wears a bird mask to hide his face for the embarrassment of how his character is dressed. The show has, it's not a unique premise. There have been a lot of VR MMO games throughout the years, or not games, but anime throughout the years that have taken a lot of different approaches to the subject. You obviously have Sword Art Online, where they get trapped in the game, and things to that nature. This doesn't appear to be going that route. It just seems to be that he's going to become an OP character based on the fact that he's used to playing games with severe bugs, things where the characters are hindered in progressing through the game. So when he switches to this new quote-unquote god tier game, he is going to find it much, much easier to play. The premise, like I said, is not unique. The animation is very, very well done. The art style is very, very well done. And honestly, I was very entertained through the duration of the show. I had actually hoped, similar to Freerun, that it had dropped 4 episodes so I could continue on. Unfortunately, there was only 1 episode at the time of this recording. But I mean, that speaks volumes for me, whereas with a lot of shows that I do drop pretty quickly, it's a hassle to make it through the first episode. With this one, I honestly did want the show to keep going. So I definitely, if you're in the mood for, it feels like it's going to be fairly lighthearted. I don't foresee it having too much in the way of drama to the point of like something needs to happen or anything like that. It seems like it's just going to be an entertaining show with some comedy throughout it. I definitely recommend it. That's Shangri-La Frontier. The second one is The Familiar Circumstance of the Irregular Witch. This one is definitely going to be the ecchi fan service show this season, basically about a witch named Alyssa who, while wandering through the woods, finds an abandoned baby. Seems to be a trope that they're following this season, as this is now the second show I've checked out thus far where there is an abandoned baby in the woods. Alyssa is a 223-year-old witch, looks like a 12 to 14-year-old girl, and the comedy here plays off in that the human baby that she finds in 16 years has grown to look like a full-grown adult. And so it plays off of this. Mom looks like a young teenager, daughter looks like a full-grown adult, and all of the tropes in comedy that come with that are going to be what are the major things in this series. Animation's fine, the art style is fine, there's nothing too cringeworthy about it or anything to that nature outside of, obviously, it's a fan service ecchi show, so there will be cringe within that. it's a lighthearted watch. It's not breaking any new ground. It's just goofy. It's fun. It's low rent. There's nothing particularly too crazy about this one. If you're looking for something that's good to turn your brain off and just kind of watch, this will probably suffice for that. Other than that, you could probably pass on it. You're not going to be missing much. But like I said, if you're looking for something just to kind of chuckle through, this would probably be a good one for that. That's The Family Circumstances of the Irregular Witch. And now the third and final one I checked out today is going to be Berserk of Gluttony. We have here another fantasy show that's a non-isekai. Surprise, surprise, we haven't run into isekai yet this season. I'm sure they're coming. But Berserk of Gluttony is and similar to the first show this episode. I wanted it to keep going. The premise is nothing new. Basically, Fate is a poor peasant in a fantasy kingdom who is quote-unquote cursed with a trash skill, gluttony. So he works for the 3 abusive holy knights as a sub-guard for the gate and is constantly abused by them. Think redo of healer, but I don't think it's going to push that far. There is one other holy knight who does treat him well, and she does try to look after him in her own way. So while he is lamenting his poor stock in life, he sees thieves break into the castle and goes to run and tell the nice knight about it. She runs in, injures one runs out, and he spears the person escaping, killing them, activating his gluttony skill. So instead of just his stomach rumbling, there are secondary things to this, as any gamer will probably be able to figure out. As soon as his skill activates, he acquires new skills, which in this world is not supposed to happen. So he is blessed with telepathy and inspect. Once again, any gamer knows these are going to be very, very useful. His stats also improve, prompting him to think, hey, maybe I can go battle monsters. At that point, he leaves and goes and tries to purchase a sword. He is scoffed at by the merchant that he goes to purchase a sword from for being poor, so he starts going through the trash barrel of weapons and happens upon a weapon that telepathically speaks to him, known as greed. It doesn't get much into what greed can do up to this point, but obviously you can kind of assume that greed and gluttony are going to work well together. He then purchases said sword, goes out and searches down goblins. Goblins in this show tend to be a little bit beefier, bulkier than the goblins in a lot of other shows. So you think he might not be able to do anything until he starts killing them, and then over and over you just hear the phrase, gluttony has activated, and by the end of it he has acquired tons of new skills. His stats are very much heightened, and he goes back into town to turn in goblin ears, another fantasy trope, and then he sees a man kidnap a little girl. Episode ends with him potentially about to battle said man to save this girl's life, but we also get to hear about this man is going to sell the girl to the holy knights. So it very much does have some backstory of torture and evil there, once again akin to redo of healer. I don't know how far it's going to go into it in that same way. I have not read the light novel or the manga for this show. I'm just checking out the anime, but I found myself wanting it to keep going. I didn't want it to end when it did. It's a very interesting show. You're kind of rooting for this humble hero who's now becoming massively OP very, very quickly. So once again, obviously another fantasy, power fantasy. There's not much more to it. He does act fairly humble going into this, so that's good. He wants to, repay the other holy knight who treats him well. And I do think that if it keeps up at this pace, it is going to be a very interesting show. It didn't feel to me as cringe as The Eminence in Shadow, which from the jump for me was a little bit too edgelord. But it does have the ability to go that route. We'll just have to see how it handles itself as it progresses. But as of this moment, I can say I actually did enjoy Berserk of Gluttony, and I look forward to further episodes from this and seeing which route it takes. And with that, those are the only 3 shows that dropped today that I checked out. There was another F1 show, but I'm not really my thing, so I decided to forego that one with the amount of shows that are dropping this season. But what did you guys think of these 3? Have you checked them out yet? Was there anything else that you've checked out that I may have missed? Did you check out the F1 show? What do you think of it? But if anything, leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that you're checking out that you think I'd enjoy or that you yourself are enjoying. I'd like to hear your thoughts. And if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe. Really helps me out and lets me know what everybody's thinking, how I'm doing. And as per always, watch more anime. Read more manga. You guys have a great day.